Hello friends, a transit's a super useful tool and this is how you would use one. Alright friends, so a transit will show you the straight line elevation. So you can look through here and look at different elevations and see the difference in height. So we've already looked at what it is, we looked at how to level it up on a tripod. Now we need to look at how to use it. So what you will need is you will need a stick that has numbers on it. You don't absolutely have to have this one. If you had a 1x or maybe a 2x and you marked individual lines on it, you could use that. This is just so much easier because it has all these lines on it. So when we use this, what we have to do is make sure that we're holding it plumb. This is plumb, this is level. We need to make sure we're holding it plumb. If we're leaning like this, it won't give an accurate reading. So we need to look through it and make sure we're holding it plumb. The next thing we do is we need to have a benchmark, one place we're going off of. So in our concrete pour here, we want to have this corner up here being the high point. And then in the 40 feet we go that way, we want it to slope about 3 inches approximately, and then we want it coming and sloping down towards the ditch 3 inches in this 12 foot. That's about as much fall as you want on a 12 foot, but that's a pretty gradual fall over 40 feet. So what we want to do is we want to shoot a line. We will have somebody hold this. They will hold this and keep it plumb. We will look through that transit and we will see what this is. Now, I just set this to be a little bit above grade, and then we will take this measurement and make all the rest of the corners off of this. So that one's gonna be 3 inches low, that one over there is gonna be 3 inches low, and then by the time we get to that far corner, it'll be 6 inches lower than this because we have the 3 inches there and the 3 inches there. So what we will do is we will shoot a number, and you know, it might turn out to where it's 3 foot 7 and an 1/8. And then we go down there and it might be different. We've determined what that needs to be off of our benchmark. All right, friends, so I'm just leaning that stick up against the porch. I've already done all the work, already shot every corner, so it's good. So this is just for instructional purposes. When I use this, I want to, first, before I look through here, I want to line it up and try to line up the middle of my transit. Like if I had a line right here, like if this is a rifle and if I had a sight right there, I want to try to line that sight up with my stick. It's going to be easier to find that measuring stick. So then I can come through here and look, and my focus is on top here. This top button is a screw that it focuses from near to far. So I will have to change that. So right now I'm looking at 3 foot 4 and a half. So it's at 3 foot 4 and a half. So when I shoot down there, I'm gonna want that to be 3 foot 7 and a half, because as I make the distance bigger, that drops that level. Then I want this at 3 foot 7 and a half, this corner by the ditch, and then that far corner, I want it down there, I want it 3 foot 10 and a half, because that will give me my 6-inch drop at the far end. So that's how you would use a transit. You'd look through it, you'd make sure you get your benchmark, and then everything else goes off of that benchmark. So if I'm setting forms and I need everything level, if I'm setting a foundation, I would shoot my 3 foot 4 and a half, and then every other corner needs to be 3 foot 4 and a half. And that's how I know everything would be level and I wouldn't have some waves or any dips like that. Hey, thanks so much for watching, friends. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'm sure I went through this and forgot multiple things that I should have mentioned, but go ahead and leave them in the comments and I'll try to get back and we'll discuss those things. Thanks for watching.